So I was to say, I lived at 4 Potter's Lane, Northwalk, off of Northwalk, and where the current library is now. The car park to the library was where I used to live in the cottage. We had some neighbourhood relatives who were interested in helping the fair people. My grandmother used to take in washing for them, would you believe? So obviously she was paid in kindness, in as much as us kids could go down and have free rides. That was interesting. Where I used to live, I had an attic bedroom with 3 windows, which was a first-class view of the whole fairground, so I could stand and watch out my window till about 1:30 in the morning, with all the lights going and the noise going. And I used to watch the Helter Skelter and work how much money they had from 11 o'clock in the night till 1 o'clock in the morning, because I could see them. It was 6 a ride at the time, you know, that was quite interesting. Now, at the bottom of our lane used to be a fire hydrant. Now, the fire people would use it and do regular tests on it, but it was there as a good facility for the fair people, because they used to come, they had a key, they could unlock the fire hydrant, and they used to carry stainless steel jugs with about 2 gallons of water in, obviously because they're, you know, portable. And through the times they came, they'd send the kids across, forgotten the keys. So they used to come up to my grandmother and say, "Can we have some water?" And she'd say, "Help yourself," you know. It was also at the time when the apple season was ripe. Grandmother had a nice eaten apple, I think it was called a Beauty of Bath apple. And what we used to do was to pick the apples and take them down. The fair people used to buy it from us as well. So that was another little bit of industry. Yes, right, the free, as I said, the free rides we used to get as kids. Now then, at the bottom of the high street now, where there was a charity shop not so long ago, used to be the Northgate Hotel. It's at Mermaid Cross, and on the very corner there was a pair of double doors. Now, the sideshows used to run from the traffic lights right through the fairground, right through Northwalk, right up to Long Bridge at that time. In latter years they scaled it down a little bit. They went as far as the bus station, because at the time when the bus station couldn't operate from there, they used to operate from the square. So all starts work from the square. This particular day I came along, and it was after the Friday night sort of drinking session. All of a sudden, it's just like the old Western bars. This guy came flying out through the door. They kicked him out, drunk. And he just lay there in the floor groaning, you know. Of course, we as kids just laughed at him and walked away. But there used to be sideshows all the way along the pavement on the riverside. Most of them were decked with white and green stripes. Some of them had just white stripes. Now, whether that was promotion or not, or whether they ran out of money and couldn't get enough to get the green stripes, there was a bit of competition on who could have the best looking display, you know. There was a man there, we didn't ever find his name out, but we always called him the Pyjama Man. Now, he used to auction off towels and things like that. Full pyjama suit with a bowler hat. Everybody knew him well, on the loudspeaker, and he was well away, you know, you could hear him all over the town. I'm not sure of the year, but we think it probably been late 40s. There was storm damage, very severe storms, and it ripped all the canvases off of all the fairground. And needless to say, they carried on regardless. So we were driving around in the bumping cars, looking up to the stars, you know. Luckily, the weather was all right afterwards. The wind died down, there wasn't any rain, but it could have been a bit nasty, you know, especially when you got electrics involved, you know. The whole concept of the fair was of great interest to small children. They would come in throngs, you know, parents would come along, they would save up for throughout the year, money for fair. They do little jobs, little errands for, if you do that, I'll give you some money for fair. And this was how the whole thing built up, you know. And of course everybody came to the opening of the fair outside here with a white glove, and there were cameras clicking away at the time, you know. So we used to follow the procession over the bridge. Over the bridge. They used to go down through Cross Street and then in that way to the fairground, you see. And so it was a big thing, very much so. Bearing in mind at the time the forces were heavily involved, so you had Fremantle Army Camp and you also had Chivener, that a lot of those guys would come up during their off breaks in uniform and they'd be riding on the fairground, you know. I always remember the pilots used to love, there was I think they used to call it a dive bomber. It was just two capsules on a big arm and it spin around. And I think there was a G-force of about 3G, which they experienced in their planes. So they used to love it because it was practice for them. Mind boggles, doesn't it? It used to be wrestling there and boxing. There was a couple of local chaps used to take part in it at one time, but it was all fixed stuff. You could see it was all, it was good publicity, really. Got people in. They also used to have a mini circus there at one time. Very small one, but it worked a treat, So, yeah, we used to support it very well. Seeing it was right on the doorstep as well. So, thoroughly enjoyed it. A bit sad when it moved to the other place because it lost a little bit of impetus then. Took on a different sort of format, different younger people taking it on board, different ideas. I wouldn't say they played it down, but it didn't seem so. I think being older, you tend to think, well, that's the childhood side of it. That excitement's gone now. Just curious to see what new things were being brought in, So that's how it all went. But thoroughly enjoyable. Still go up further today. Don't go on any rides anymore. The new rides, obviously I'm interested in the new rides. The last year one was a bit scary from my point of view. Whereas they used to have the chaeroplanes, which was just up 3 or 4 steps, and the thing used to do centrifugal thing, and you're coming out of an angle of 45 degrees. The same story applies, but now it's on a spiral, and it'll go up about 30, 40 feet, and it's higher than a big whale. I thought, my God, if I was up there, I should be myself, But yeah, so interesting to see, but still love it,